Sarah had always been a fiercely independent woman who had worked hard to build a life for herself. She had never needed anyone else, and that included her estranged father, who had abandoned her and her mother when she was just a child. So when Sarah received news that her father was dying, she initially felt nothing but anger and resentment towards him. How dare he try to come back into her life now, after all these years? Sarah refused to visit him, convinced that it was too little too late. But as the days went by, Sarah found herself unable to shake off the nagging feeling that she might regret not seeing her father before he passed away. She knew that her unresolved issues with him had been affecting her life in subtle ways, and she began to wonder if forgiveness might be the key to her moving on. As much as she tried to ignore it, Sarah found that her thoughts kept coming back to her father. She knew that she didn't have much time left to make a decision, and she couldn't shake off the feeling that this was a pivotal moment in her life. Finally, after a lot of internal struggle, Sarah made the difficult decision to visit her father. She knew that it would be a painful and uncomfortable experience, but she also knew that it was something that she had to do for herself. When Sarah arrived at the hospital, she found her father barely conscious. He looked frail and weak, and Sarah could see that he was in a lot of pain. Despite her initial anger, she couldn't help but feel a twinge of sympathy for him. Over the next few days, Sarah spent time with her father, talking to him about her life and listening to him tell stories from his own. It was a strange experience, but Sarah found herself beginning to understand her father in a way she never had before. She could see that he knew how much pain he had caused her and her mother, and she could also see that he was genuinely sorry for what he had done. Sarah started to notice that the initial anger and resentment she felt towards her father began to fade, and she found herself getting the closure that she needed. In the end, Sarah found the strength to forgive her father. It wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight, but she knew that it was the right thing to do. As she held her father's hand in his final moments, Sarah felt a sense of peace that she had never known before. After her father's passing, Sarah returned home feeling a sense of closure she never thought she would ever have. She started looking at her life differently, and she began to see how her anger and bitterness towards her father had been affecting her life in so many ways. It allowed her to let go of the pain and start a new chapter in her life. The moral of this story is that forgiveness, although difficult, can be a powerful tool in finding closure and moving on from the past. Holding on to anger and resentment can prevent us from fully living our lives and can cause us to miss out on important opportunities for reconciliation and growth. By choosing to forgive, we can free ourselves from the burdens of the past and open ourselves up to a brighter, more fulfilling future. If you enjoyed this story and would like to hear more inspiring stories like this, please like and subscribe.